Welcome to First Stroke to the PGA, the unqualified, overly optimistic, and mildly delusional quest to go from my first golf swing ever to the Pro Tour. I'm recording every chunk, shank, lost ball, and occasional miracle shot along the way. If you like big dreams, bad decisions, and watching someone learn the hard way, grab a cart and ride along. Let's tee it up. Because how hard could this possibly be? Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I apologize for missing last week. I ended up coming down with a pretty nasty sickness. Um, couldn't really talk, didn't have much of a voice, was super achy. So that whole week was pretty shot, and I didn't get the opportunity to um, record prior to getting sick. So again, apologies for missing last week's episode, but we're going to pick right back up where we left off, and I'm thinking that it should be pretty straightforward. The date of this future tense recording is June 15th, Father's Day. So if you happen to be listening to this after the fact, then happy Father's Day. Hope it was a wonderful day and you got to play some golf. So um, yeah, today we're going to be continuing some more range audio and going through some of the new steps that I had. And we're not going to have this last one where I went because a little bit of a backstory. I did go to the range that Monday before I got sick, and the night before I had a pretty bad headache, so I took some medicine that had some sleep aid in it, and I didn't. I woke up the next morning and I felt like crap, so I just kind of attributed it to the medicine, the sleep aid that I took the night before, thinking maybe it just screwed me up and I was groggy and kind of felt like crap because of that. So um, after going to the range, I talked to my buddy and I said, hey, let's go to the range, man. Like I gotta shake this and it's not working. So just sitting here is not working. So um, it ended up not being that, and I got about we got a medium bucket of balls, pretty standard stuff I would say for what we're normally doing, and I I don't know how to describe the feeling that I felt, but about halfway through, um, I topped a bunch of shots. Like it was just very poor swings, very poor connection. Everything about it was kind of eh. And I didn't really know what was going on, but I assumed that I was just having one of those days where I was swinging like crap, full transparency, and that's not what it was. And I got back to the office and I felt pretty crappy and assumed it was just okay. Didn't work the way I thought it was going to work, and we're going to work through it. Um, then the achiness really started to kick in, and it was just not a fun time. It was, I got progressively worse very quickly, and it just was not my time. I told my boss that I was going home. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel right. Something, got a really bad headache. I'm really achy, and I need to go home. And my boss was like, well, didn't you go golfing? Yeah, but it ended up being something that it wasn't what I thought it was, and I made it way worse. So I went home. I ended up staying home that next day just to kind of recuperate because it was a bad time. So um, that one, I don't think I recorded any audio that day because I just felt like such crap that it didn't work. It was bad. So um, we'll go through here, and I've got a couple more range audio sessions that we're going to put together. And moving forward, I think once I get caught up on the previous audio that we've got, I'm going to start doing these live where it's going to be one continuous audio and we're going to just talk like this in a more confined setting, unless there's something really, really drastic that I need to get off my chest um, immediately. Then I'll record some range audio. But um, yeah, that's kind of what we got so far. So this next range audio is going to be pretty bare bones, but I want to make sure that I'm keeping the range audios moving forward and kind of putting out the idea of what I'm looking at as soon as it happens. So yeah, without further ado, here's the range audio.
All right. Today is May 22nd. I went to the range, I think for the 5th or 6th time. Um, Yesterday, May 21st. So I'm going through. I'm finding a kind of a rhythm when I go through, and I'm getting more confidence every time I go. I started off. I was really high on my 7-iron, and I could get solid connection with it, and I still do. But I didn't really have any confidence with my woods or my driver, and it was the last thing I would hit. I would maybe save 3 or 4 balls, and then kind of progress through those kind of quick, so that way I didn't have to spend a ton of time on clubs. Frankly, I wasn't hitting well. Last time I went out, I hit the ball well with my driver, not so much with my 3 or my 5 wood, but I hit it well with my driver, and out of the 5 or 6 balls I had with the driver, I had, I think, 3 solid connections. So I went into today, or yesterday rather, with a little bit more confidence because I had some solid connections on my driver. I was actually kind of excited to swing my driver today, which is a feeling I didn't have before. And I progressed through I got a large bucket. I never have counted how many's in there, but there were some gentlemen to my left that it was a senior day at Sunflower Hills golf course, and they were getting ready for their seniors tournament, so they hit some balls and they left damn near half a bucket, and we left. I made sure they didn't come back. They weren't coming back. They got on their cart and they went to the first hole, and so I took the liberty of taking the balls. I don't know if that's proper etiquette for the driving range or the golf course, but if it's not, sorry, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing, but they left them there, so I was like, all right, well, extra practice, right? So I used those balls to kind of get through some of my irons, and I wasn't swinging very well with my 7 today. I was not getting the connection that I wanted out of it. So I did it with a couple of balls. I got maybe one solid connection out of it, and that was really it. I mean, it wasn't anything stellar. It was kind of, subpar compared to what I've done in every other time I've gone. So went to the 6-iron, had a couple solid connections, same thing, and then the 5-iron is really where I kind of got my groove, and I started hitting some solid balls. Went through my woods, and it wasn't great. I mean, I'm not getting the connection off the ball when it's on the ground. I did do one off the tee with my 3-wood, and I clocked it, but when it's on the ground, I'm not hitting it very well. So I'm new, so I don't know if the 3-wood is something I'm supposed to hit off the tee or what, but it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, and I was kind of disappointed in the swings. Same thing with my couple of hybrids and the 5-wood. So I guess we'll see. That's something I'm going to have to work on, and I think that's going to be kind of the club I focus on and try to get better at, because the goal is to get out on the golf course at some point. So I've been putting it off because I want to have somewhat of a base before I go out there, and maybe that's not the correct way to think about this. Maybe I need to just go out there and figure it out. I mean, but I'm going to be going with one of my buddies, Ozzy, who has been playing for a number of years, so he's got a ton more experience, and I'm very self-conscious about going out there and being very, very bad. He's assured me that I'm going to, and it's going to be okay. But I want to go out there and at least do well for a new person. So, you know, I'm trying to prepare a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that I'm as prepared as I could be before I go out on the golf course. I'm very self-conscious to the fact that I'm going to go out there and suck. And I understand it. Everybody's told me the same thing, and they're setting very clear expectations that I'm not going to do well. But like, when I say well, I'm comparing myself to like, okay, I'm not going to be as good as a pro yet. Wink, wink. But I would think I could go out there and at least, you know, hit par, right? And they're all like, no, no, that's not going to happen. So, I'm just at the point where it's probably just time for me to go out there and do it. So I'm going to be looking to do that here soon. Tentatively, I have an idea to go on Father's Day early in the morning. I'm sure it'll be packed, but that's kind of the plan as it is right now. Give myself some time to practice, and then early in the morning before my wife and son wake up, go out to the golf course, do my thing, and then be done. And that's one that I'll probably have some level of recording throughout the time, because I think it's going to be a trip. But anyway, back to the driving range. It was, once I got through the hybrids, and then, you know, my woods, I'm trying to, like, I went to the driver, I put some on the tee, and, you know, I line drive the first one, and it was less than 100 yards, and I got some feedback on my swing from Ozzy. I'm swaying, so I looked up some videos last night on how to prevent sway in my swing, and I think I found one where I'm going to put like a ball against my hip, and then put the other side of the ball against the wall, and try to go into my backswing without dropping the ball. It's not a medicine ball. It's an exercise ball, like when you sit on, and so I think that will help me at least straighten myself out, so I'm not, because I feel it when I go into the backswing. I'm dipping my knees, which I know is not correct, but I'm also swinging like a baseball player, and it's not. I know I am, and it's frustrating because I can't just turn it off, and I can feel it, especially like whenever I turn my hips to hit the ball. I'm trying to connect like I'm swinging a baseball bat, and it's just not. I can't get it to stop. So the idea, I don't know how to fix that piece of it, but, you know, I think I have a decent swing. I'm making pretty solid contact. I did clear one of my shots, cleared 200 yards, so that's a first. I had gotten close, but I hadn't gotten there yet. But and if it wasn't right at 200, it was just shy by a yard or two. So I'm confident that I can get over 200 yards and just continue growing. And I'm pretty happy with the fact that I can get to 200 yards. You know, I've only gone to the range a handful of times, and I don't really know what I'm doing yet. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that I can get the ball that far. I know that's probably not a huge accomplishment, given that Bryson DeChambeau is hitting the ball for 700 yards on it off a driver, but whatever, it's fine. Um, but for me, that's a milestone because it's something I hadn't been able to do, and it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to get to 200 yards because one of my coworkers said that I couldn't do it, so I did it, and he wasn't there to see it. So I think we're gonna go again tomorrow. But we'll see. So that's really my breakdown of the range. We went and played. We're calling it around the world. So think of it like baseball, but the putting green at this golf course has 7 holes, 6 holes, something like that. And we start at one hole, we drop the ball somewhere, and then we go. And least amount of putts wins. So I lost again, shocker. Um, But the thing I still need to figure out, and that I haven't quite gotten ironed out on my side yet, is that I'm accurate. I'm online. I'm hitting the ball towards the hole. There's a little tweak that needs to be made because it'll either go right or left, and whenever it breaks, and then. But I'm either short or I'm way long, and I haven't been able to kind of dial in the amount the amount of power that's needed for these shots. And I mean, a lot of these are going to be outside 10 feet for the initial shot. But I'm trying to get in that range where I can 2-putt it. And I'm doing 3 or 4. The last one I did 5. I just crumbled, and it was awful. I was ready to leave. But the the piece that I'm not quite getting is I'm accurate as I can be. Like I'm just missing the hole. Like I'm online no matter what I'm doing, so I'm hitting it the the right the right way. I'm hitting it the right way. I'm not getting the distance right. So Ozzy gave me some pointers. Like the way I'm swinging back is the way I need to swing forward. I didn't get to try it, so I mean, whenever we go again, we'll try. So, but I mean, Ozzy beat me on the around the world putting thing that we do. So I mean, the first time I was real close, I said, okay, cool, I can beat him, and I haven't been close since. So he's beat me by 2 or 3 putts every single time now. So I don't even count the last hole from the one that we did for the putting green because it was so bad. I was just like, whatever, I'm done. So I'm getting a kind of an understanding of what needs to be done to be able to go out onto the golf course and at least be competitive is not the right word, but around. They're not, he's not waiting on me to 5-putt a hole, so we'll see. But that was my time yesterday at the range, and wanted to get the raw feedback and kind of go from there. So thanks.
All right, and that was my time at the range for May 22nd. So, um, the overarching theme with these range audios is that I continuously have pretty good contact, pretty good um, swings and things like that, and I'm getting positive feedback when I go with people, or I'm getting positive feedback when I'm at the range. Um, Generally, I do something dumb pretty soon after that positive compliment, so they can be like, well, never mind. So, but I'm noticing in these range audios as I'm listening to them after recording them that there's some positivity that I'm getting from more than just myself. I'm not just feeling like I'm hitting the ball well. I'm I'm actually making solid contact, and I'm getting that same feedback from others, which is it's really cool to see that it's not just in my head that I think I'm doing well. It's obviously there's things I need to work on, and there's things that I need to do better, but it's reassuring to know that when I'm going out there and swinging the club and making contact, that it's not just in my head that I think damn, that was a good hit. I'm actually getting the feedback that it's, for my first couple times being out there and just being on the range and not going out on the course, um, I'm making solid connection with the ball, and I'm able to consistently hit the ball well with whatever it is that I'm hitting, minus maybe my wood, my 3 wood and my 5 wood. So um, that's really reassuring for me because it's giving me the confidence to go back and not be scared of going to the driving range. Now I know that there's only so much that I can do before I have to just bite the bullet and get out there. And I know in previous episodes I had mentioned that I was going to go on Father's Day. As I mentioned earlier in this episode, it's Father's Day today. Just didn't pan out with the group that I was going to go with. So we've got a date planned for either this coming Friday or the following Friday to go out there to Sunflower Hills and actually play around a golf. Whether it's a full 18 or just a front or back nine, I don't know yet, but we're going to work that out this week because I want to go play golf. I want to go out there and see where I'm at. I've gone to the range for multiple months now, and I've never actually gotten out onto the course. So that's going to be the goal that we're going to have here in the next week or two, before the end of June for sure. Um, but that's the plan. I'm going to go with Ozzy and maybe Xavier if I can get a group to go, and we're just going to go out there and do it. So I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I think with the connections that I've been making and the feedback I've been getting from the people when I do go to the range, I think that's going to be the next logical step is just bite the bullet and go. I'm going to have to go buy some golf balls, and I've committed to buying orange ones because I want to make sure I can track the ball. And as we get into the later episodes about last week's, the range audio for that, then maybe we'll go through and see that. But um, I'm learning how to track the ball a little bit better, which is awesome. But I'm not that great, and I can track it till about 150, 125, 150 yards, and then it just kind of disappears. So I'll have to work on that, but at least if I can see where it's going, that should at least help me get in the direction of where the ball's at. So um, I do have another range audio that we're going to be going through, and this one's going to be. I have it labeled as the sixth time, but I think this was closer to my eighth or ninth time going. And I went with my buddy Xavier, and we cashed in on the Blizzard bet. So without further ado on that, here is the Blizzard bet.
Today we're going to be discussing my experience at the range this last Friday, and I went with my buddy Xavier from work. He decided, hey, let's cash in on that bet, and to make a long story super, super short, I didn't get it. I think I got pretty close to about 175 yards at my furthest, so not terrible, but obviously not enough to get me a free Blizzard. So it's all good. I mean, he gave me a lot of good feedback on things that I was doing, the way that I was swinging, and just generally better ways to improve my game, but little by little. So, all in all, it was a really good time out there. I'm getting a lot more solid connection on my driver, dang near every time. So it's really a positive feeling whenever I'm able to go out and kind of hit the driver pretty consistently in a way that I haven't been able to do in previous times, where I'm hitting the top of the ball, or there's been a couple times I've hit the ground prior to hitting the ball. So it's a really positive feeling when I'm able to consistently hit the ball, and maybe not get 100% connection on it every single time where I'm driving it to 200 yards, 150 yards, but I'm at least hearing that empty soda can sound when I pop it, and that's a really, really positive feeling for me because I'm just able to go out there and hit the ball, and that helps me. I'm learning very quickly this game is a very confidence-based game, and when I'm swinging the swinging the golf club well, and I'm not really thinking about hitting the ball, hitting it really hard, and I'm just focusing on my swing and trying to follow through and hit the ball correctly and really just follow through with my swing more so than trying to kill the ball. I hit it really well. It's hard to do that consistently right now because I start thinking about it, I get in my head, and I just want to hit the ball really, really hard. And I want to hit it really far. And I struggle with getting out of my own way and trusting my swing and my follow-through to hit the ball the way that I'm trying to hit the ball. So that's something else I'm going to have to work on. The plan was to go today, but it's raining. Not hard, but it's not a little bit either. So I don't know that we'll go today, but it's been fun. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, I'm learning every time I go out onto the driving range, and I think I said this in the last log that I did, but the plan tentatively right now is to go on Father's Day. So that tentatively is the plan right now, and that'll be my first time. I don't know if we're going to do 9 or 18 holes, so we'll have to see kind of what the day looks like. But they're all saying that I got to go through like a trial to be able to use a cart, but I don't want to, so I just want to go. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, how I'm feeling day of, and if I'm feeling kind of sparky, that's not the right word, spunky, then maybe I will, I don't know. I'm willing to pass the rite of passage. But yeah, I mean, the overall feeling that I'm getting while I'm doing this now is still really, really positive. I'll say that I'm getting a little bit more frustrated when I'm not hitting the ball correctly, and I keep being told by both now Xavier and Ozzy that you just gotta quit swinging it so hard. You gotta quit swinging so hard. You gotta, follow through with the swing. Let the club drop. And fundamentally, right now, my brain doesn't understand it. And I'm really trying to do it, but I have to consciously think about just letting it drop, and then when I think about letting the club drop, I think about hitting the ball harder, and it's a whole process inside of my head right now where I'm not doing what I want to do all the time. And I think the biggest thing for me right now is that I'm trying to keep my swing the same every single time and trying to create something repeatable over doing one thing one time that I can't, if I hit the ball, I can't speak to what I did. Because there's been a couple times that I've hit the ball and I'm like, what'd you do? I have no idea. I just shut my brain off and swung. I have noticed in my swing, and there's a video, I took about a 16-minute video of me hitting some golf balls a couple weeks back, and maybe I'll upload it to YouTube or something. and I've noticed when I'm hitting the ball, I'm turning my hips as if I were swinging a baseball bat. And I still feel myself doing it. Now, it doesn't seem as bad as when I first started, but I've noticed when I'm really trying to, like, hit the ball, I will almost knock myself off balance because I'm turning my hips so hard to try to hit the ball that I'm treating it like a baseball swing, but I'm aiming at the ground. No, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think I'm getting a little bit more power out of it whenever I do make that solid connection, but when I do that, that's when I miss. When I do that, that's when my shots aren't consistent. And I don't know how to fix it. Because fundamentally, that's how I was trained how to hit a ball. So I'm like, I'm going to have to figure out how to, like, undo the years of baseball that I played to try to reset my shot in that sense, just because I think it's hindering what I can do. If it's not, and it's fine, and I can swing a golf club perfectly fine and get 200-300 yards out of a ball, let me know. I mean, I'm not opposed to keeping that style of a swing if it's going to be beneficial to me getting better. Because right now I'm trying to get down the basics. I'm trying to get the fundamentals of the swing down, so that way I can start improving, right? I mean, I said at the beginning of these recordings that I've been doing that I wanted to hit the range a couple different times before I actually went out on the course, because there's something that I'm super, super self-conscious about, and it's about looking like an idiot in front of other people. And the thought behind it is, I don't care if I do well. I'm not expecting to shoot under par. I'm not expecting to be a phenomenal golfer out, my first time out. I understand that that's not going to happen. I'm okay with that. I've made peace. But I want to look like I have at least a bit of an understanding of what I'm supposed to be doing, and I want to have some things figured out on the range before I go out on the course. And it's taken me a little bit longer because, frankly, I don't have the confidence to go out there and test out everything at this point in time. And I've told Ozzy that I've told Ozzy that that's the goal, is to go out there as soon as I can, and he's just saying, you gotta go out and do it. But there's a self-consciousness about it that I'm not ready. Like, I don't feel like I'm gonna go out there and do what I need to do. And that's hard. I mean, it's hard to go out there and say, hey, I'm getting confident on the range, which is good, which tells me that I need to get out on the course. But there's an underlying fear that I'm going to go out there and look stupid. And I'm not going to want to do it again because I felt stupid. And I've always said, with what I was doing with this audio recordings and podcasting, that the goal was to be very real, very raw, very, unfiltered with the way that I'm talking. And that's something that I've struggled with since I started doing this, because I've had mornings where I could go out and do it. I've had mornings where I could just go play a quick 9. But the self-conscious feeling that I get when I think about going to play golf by myself or with a group, with the, like, actually playing golf, not going to the driving range, going to play golf. And it scares the hell out of me because I want to go out there and at least look like I know what I'm doing to a certain extent. Like, obviously, people are going to be able to tell it's my first time out. I would assume, and that's not what I'm worried about. And I've asked Ozzy several times, like, hey, what's the etiquette thing to do? Like, what's the proper etiquette in this situation if I'm putting the ball? I didn't know whenever we were going around the putting green that the person furthest away from the ball went first. Makes complete sense. I didn't know that. And it came up in a conversation because we both putted. I was like, okay, go ahead and go. And he's like, no, you go. I was like, no, I insist. And he's like, no, you're further away from the ball. You go. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't think to ask. I just assumed that you went in the order that you were supposed to go in. He's like, no, it's per the person, like, we can switch off who goes first in the initial putt, but then it's whoever's furthest away from the ball after that. So it's little things like that I just didn't know. It's beneficial to know that, right? I mean, beneficial to be like, oh, after he said it, it made complete sense. And then I've spent time, I'll go through my balls relatively quickly when I'm at the range. And maybe that's a fault of mine. Again, if you guys have tips, tricks, ways for me to get better, let me know. I'm open to it. I want to be better. And I want to go out there and not make a fool of myself. And when I say that, again, I'm not saying that I'm worried about being the best or worried about being better or looking like a pro. That's not what I'm going for. I'm going for, I want to have the proper, etiquette out on the course. I don't want to go out there and unintentionally be disrespectful because I don't know. Because in my head, ignorance is not a reason to be disrespectful. And the last thing that I want to do is go out there and make it seem like I'm being disrespectful to anybody or to the golf course or to the owners of the golf, like whatever. Like, I want to go out there and show that, I'm new, but I'm still following the rules, so to speak. Because, whenever I played baseball and there were kids that wanted to play that didn't know what they were doing, I know from my perspective at that point playing competitive baseball, it was frustrating. I mean, like, you go through and you do the right thing and you help them and you try to help them be better. But it's frustrating in that moment because you're affecting what I'm doing. You're affecting the way that I'm playing because in this instance, I'm playing second base, you're playing shortstop. You don't know when it's a certain batter, you cover the person on second base, not me. So you do the right thing and you help because it's the right thing to do. But internally you're frustrated, and that's what I want to try to avoid. At least from an etiquette standpoint, I'm sure people are going to get pissy whenever I, 4-putt a hole. But that's fine. I'll be okay. I'll survive. But that's kind of my thoughts on this time out at the range. I think it's my fifth or sixth time. And I'm getting excited, man. I mean, we're getting close. We've kind of got a preliminary date of Father's Day morning to go and play some golf. So if I end up getting out there sooner, I'll make sure to record, maybe not hole by hole, but I might mimic something that Chasing Scratch does and do a reading of the scorecard once I've gone out and replace it, add it in addition to my thoughts, the raw audio from the range, add in a dramatic, quote-unquote, again, kudos to Chasing Scratch, doing a reading of the scorecard. So If you guys have ideas on ways to make this podcast better, I'm open to it. Let me know. But yeah,
All right, and there we go. That is my range audio with my buddy Xavier and the way things progressed. I mean, um, I'm very, very happy with the way that range session went. More so than just having the connections, but also getting the feedback on my swing. In my conversations with Xavier, he's very, very well versed in golf and kind of how to play it. And at least from what I see when he's making his swings and connections with the ball, first, he's immensely better than I am. He's been playing golf to some degree for a very, very long time. And he's 27, 28 years old, so he's a little bit younger than I am, but he's been playing significantly longer. And you can tell by the way he swings, he's got confidence and swagger in the way that he's pulling it. He's just every time he hits the ball, it's dang near straight on, or it's at least solid connection if it fades left or right. And one thing that I've noticed that he notices how I swing, and he's giving me really good feedback one way or another on what I'm doing well, what I can improve on, and and kind of everything in between to make sure that everything is just better. And I'm really thankful for that. And I get the same thing from Ozzy, and just hearing the differences between the way that they're kind of the same thing, but they're also a little bit different, that based off of what they're looking for or what they're looking at. And I'm very, very thankful that I'm getting both sides of the coin, or two different sides of the coin whenever I'm going with different people, because it's giving different perspective that maybe Ozzy didn't see when he saw me swinging, or maybe I saw a YouTube video and I got a really good idea about how I'm going to swing, and I just botch everything. And they're very quick to point out things that I'm doing well, but they're also very quick to say, "Hey, you're doing something wrong. Do this." Which I really appreciate because it's helping me be better. And it's like I've told numerous people that there's a few people that have asked to go, and I don't want to. I'm all for going out there and having fun and golfing and doing all this other stuff, but I'm doing it with the intention of getting better. And those other folks that have inquired about going, they're not, they're there for the fun, not necessarily the actual golf itself. They're there to drink and drive the golf cart around and do stupid stuff, which it has its time and its place. But for me and what I'm trying to do with this podcast, with golf in general, is I'm trying to get better. I said it in the first episode, and I've mentioned it in other episodes, that the title of this podcast is First Stroke to the PGA. And I will say again, I understand the idea of getting to the PGA is the loftiest of goals, but it's the goal. And while I understand the stretch that I'm putting out there, I take it seriously. And there's a level of competitiveness in me that I've committed to saying, hey, this is the goal. So I'm not going to go out there and half ass it, right? I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, I'm just going to screw around and see what happens. No. While I'm not on a training regimen, I'm not dumping my life savings and spending 30, 40 hours a week doing this. It is very much a hobby. It is very much a part-time hobby. When I'm out there, I'm taking it serious. So that's one thing that I have been very protective of when I do go out there. That if I'm getting the vibe from the person that's asking that, hey, I just want to screw around and there's no real plan, cool. I don't want to go. I'm good, because I want the time that I'm out at the range to be impactful. I want it to be bettering me as a golfer in a way that wouldn't, right? I mean, I've been to the driving range a few times in my life where I just screwed around and there's nothing beneficial of it. If anything, with what I've done so far, it would probably be more harm than good. So maybe it's too serious. Maybe I'm making too much of a thing out of it. And anytime I get to go out to the range, maybe that's something I needed to jump on. I don't know. But for the time being, I'm going through it, and I'm trying to make sure that the time that I'm out there is impactful and positive for my growth. And that's what I'm going to continue to do until it changes, right? I mean, that's all I can really do is try to be as consistent as I can through this journey and try to be better. But I would imagine at some point that it's going to become more fun than serious, and that's okay. But I want to make sure that while I'm going out there, I'm with people that are going to guide me in the right direction with my swing, with um, my form, everything. I want to make sure that I'm producing the best results that I can in this specific arena, right? So I do have one more range audio that I've recorded, and that's going to bring us up to current. I mean, I want to say this was end of May was the date. I believe it was May 30th. And a little bit of backstory with it. It's a time that I went by myself, and I think I really figured some stuff out in my time at the range when I go by myself. Getting the feedback and everything is awesome, but I think it's also beneficial for me to go out there by myself and just swing the ball, even if I'm not making solid contact every time, but I'm not also just waiting for feedback from other people. I'm figuring things out on my own in my swing, in the way I'm making connections with the ball, and really the way that it feels to swing it, because I'm able to go at my own pace. I'm able to work through things on my own. And I didn't record a video of it this time. I thought about it, but the range was pretty busy, and I wasn't trying to take up a ton of time setting up my phone and my camera and all this stuff. So um, this will be the last range audio, and then we'll be completely caught up for June, or for the end of May. And then I hadn't recorded new sessions in June so far, but I will, as of next episode, we'll be caught up, and we'll start going through day forward. We'll catch up some of the earlier June things, but then we'll be day forward moving on. So this will be the last recorded range audio from May 30th.
What's going on, guys? Today is May 30th. What's going on, guys? Today is May 30th, and I just got done with a range session. Range session. What's going on, guys? Today is Friday, May 30th, and I just got done with a range session. Went by myself today. Both the guys that I typically go with were out of town, so I was able to get some of the day off today. So I went and got a big bucket by myself and just hit some balls. I was making solid connections pretty much the entire time. I think out of however many in that are in that big bucket, I topped maybe 2 or 3 of them. So I'm definitely seeing a good amount of progress that I'm happy with, and it's refreshing to get as many solid contacts on the ball as I did. And surprisingly, the shots that I was making mistakes on was not my driver. It wasn't really my woods to a certain extent, but it was my 7-iron specifically. I wasn't getting the contact on it that I typically do, and I think I hit almost 10 balls with my 7-iron, and I mean, 7 of them were at least solid contact, but it wasn't what I typically get. And I'm not sure what changed. It could have just been that it was kind of the ground was wet. It's been raining in the Kansas City area over the last week or so, so it could just be that the ground was wet and it was conditions that I hadn't really practiced in before. So maybe that's part of it. I just wasn't getting the solid connections because I hadn't really played in when the ground was like wet, and you can hear it when you're walking. It kind of squishes. So that was disappointing, and I don't know if I'm doing something different or just because it's the second time this week that I've gone, but my back, my lower back right above my butt hurts like a mother. And it's different. I don't, and it could have been the amount of balls that I was doing because I usually do like a medium bucket, or a small bucket because we're going on lunch and we don't get the time to just do it. So, that may have been part of it because I got about halfway through it. I spent a lot more times in my irons, and then I hit more with my woods than I typically do. So that could have been part of it because by the time I got to my driver, I was already feeling kind of sore in my lower back and my butt. So that's a new feeling. I'm not a fan of it, but it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I like having the people there to kind of coach me and guide me as I'm making my swings, because when I'm by myself, I'm just kind of left to my own thoughts and what I think I'm doing correctly or not. But I was trying to keep my body not stiff, but firm, and not sway my legs as much as I've been doing, and I think I noticed that's why I'm getting some better connections that way versus what I've been doing in the past where I'll kind of sway my body to go with the way that I'm trying to go, and I sometimes will top the ball. I will say a unique problem that I had today that I haven't had before. I think the term is chunk. Maybe, no. I was getting underneath it, and it was causing, I was hitting patches of grass out. So that I'm not too familiar on what I'm doing differently. I know that means I'm going lower. Maybe my stance was a little too low. Not really sure. The earlier this week when we were on the mats, 15, 20 yards back, and this time we were on the grass. So maybe it was just an adjustment. I'm not sure. I wasn't doing it the entire time, but I was hitting the ground a lot more today. So, in terms of my swing, I'm still turning my hips like a baseball player, but it's not as bad. I usually notice it when I'm really trying to hit the ball hard, and that's when I'm noticing that I'm getting really low, or when I'm really trying to crush the ball, that's when I'm hitting the ground, or I'm turning my hips like a baseball player, because I'm really trying to crank it. And sometimes it worked, but sometimes it didn't get as solid of a connection as I wanted it to, or I hit a line drive, or it just went straight up in the air. So that's something I'm still actively trying to get rid of in my swing is turning my hips and in turn my left foot outward when I'm swinging, because I've noticed, I watched some of the guys that were there today, they're keeping their left foot planted if they're swinging right-handed. So that's something I think I'm going to have to figure out on how to just keep my feet, my left foot specifically, planted the entire time. Because when I did it, and I kept everything kind of stable on my lower half of my body, I hit the ball harder and faster and further without the effort that I'm trying to do when I'm swinging my hips and really trying to just hit the crap out of the ball. So an active thing that I've been trying with my driver that Ozzy pointed out is you get to the top of your backswing and you kind of just let the driver or the club fall. And when it's hard to do it and not think about it, because when you're swinging a baseball bat, for people that have played baseball, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's a motion that you're not letting anything drop. You're actively doing the swing. You're actively engaging in your core to swing the bat. Versus with this, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, so if I am, let me know. But whenever I'm just letting it drop, I'm literally just relaxing my arms and guiding it through the ball. And some of my better connections were when my feet were planted and I did that. But it's very, very difficult for me to replicate it every single time. And that's something I'm working on. It's an active thought process that I'm having when I'm swinging the clubs now. And we're working on it. So overall today, I'm really happy with the way the range session went. I'm really happy that I was able to kind of get out there with a big bucket and just kind of figure some stuff out. It was super sunny, so on my driver shots, I didn't really get to see where they were going unless I screwed the shot up. Full transparency. So that's one thing I think that's going to take a little bit more time is various conditions and tracking where the ball's at. So I noticed on everything but my driver, I lost some of them in the sun or in the sky, but I could at least track where it was going. So I think when I do get out on the course, that will make my life a heck of a lot easier because I will be able to say, okay, well, it was, slicing right. I can kind of find it from there. It's just going to be not overthinking how far I actually shot it versus what I actually did. So didn't do the putting green today. There was a tournament or something going on, so I didn't get to use it. But I was kind of wiped by the end of the session that I did with on the range. So no putting today, but all in all, the whole session today was a success in my book because I left with confidence. On every club I swung is the word. Good Lord. Every club I swung today, I had at least a couple of good connections, in my opinion. There were guys behind me and in front of me that were just crushing the ball the entire time, so I had to keep myself in the moment because it was real easy to think like, well, I'm not hitting it like those guys. But all in all, I mean, it was just a good swing. Every club I hit today, I had somewhat solid connections. So I can't complain because it was a good thing. I left with confidence, which a couple of times doing this, I haven't. I always try to leave on a good swing with my last ball. I'm like, okay, if I don't hit anything else, if I haven't hit anything decent today, I want to at least hit one well. And I did. I did it on my driver, and the second to last one, I topped it, and it kind of rolled to the 75-yard mark. And then the next one, I got solid contact on it. Sounded like an empty soda can, and I don't know where it went. My driver shots I couldn't track for anything today, so that's a negative, I guess, or something to work on. And I clocked it. It sounded good. It felt good when I hit it. I just didn't see where it went. So if you guys have tips on how to track a ball consistently, again, like I said in an earlier episode, my vision's not that great. So getting that sorted out is going to be kind of a challenge, and why I'm reluctant to go by myself. But we'll see. So that's it for this range audio. I'm leaving with a bunch of confidence and feeling like I did something worthwhile today. So real excited about that, and real excited to get out on the course.
All right, and that was the last range audio from May 30th with one of my one of the times I went by myself. So very solid time, right? And I'm really happy with the way this range audio or with the way the range visit went. I got a big bucket by myself and I just worked through it. I mean, it would have been I was getting underneath some shots and I was, chunking some shots, but even given that it was raining or it had been raining and the ground was kind of wet, I worked through some of those issues or difficulties that I hadn't had to work through before, which was really, really cool for me because it just it felt like I was making positive progress in a way that I don't think I've done before. So while I understand that there's pieces of it that are going to be maybe not what I wanted, there's also the part of it where I'm like, I'm left to figure things out on my own to a certain extent, which is kind of what I like too. While I enjoy having the feedback and having the coaching aspect of it, where somebody that's significantly better than me is teaching me, I also like having those moments by yourself, figuring it out. There are pieces that I truly believe that you have to go through on your own and kind of work through it on your own. There's certain things that you can't be taught. There's certain things that you're not going to be able to do and be, you know, really good at right off the bat. You have to work through the problems on your own. And it's the same thing with baseball. If you get in a slump, you can have a coach yelling at you and telling you exactly what you need to do. This is what you're doing wrong. But until you make the connection in your head on your own, sometimes it doesn't work. Um, and I'm speaking from years of experience with baseball. I'm a novice at this point, so I think having the people there to kind of guide me is always going to be preferred because I don't have a full grasp of what I'm doing yet compared to baseball. I know like the back of my hand. I played it for a number of years. I'm very well versed in how to play it and all that stuff. Whereas golf, there's things I don't know what I'm doing. I'm changing little things in my swing every single time I swing because I find something that feels a little bit better, or I swung the club at one point and it just felt better. Um, so those are all things that I'm having to work through, and I'm really, really excited to see what's going on. Um, I will say that I felt things that I hadn't felt before, just because the misses that I was having, they were worse than they typically are. In the audio, I call out, like, I don't know if it was because it was the second time I had gone, if it, in that week, and maybe I was just a little tired, or if it was something along the lines of, I hadn't played with a damp ground, right? Um, I also add into the fact that, that was my first time doing a large bucket of balls, and those things, there was a lot. I mean, I didn't have anything planned after the fact. I went home, but I think I need to pace myself a little bit better moving forward with the way that I'm hitting the balls because I'm going. And on a smaller and medium bucket, it's not that big of a deal, but I didn't count how many balls were in it, but I think there was at least 50 or 60 balls that I hit that day. So um, it makes it hard, especially if you're going at a rate that was something I'm not used to, then that can make it very difficult to go. But I specifically remember the pain in my lower back, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling, and it was every time I swung it, it shot down into the right side of my butt, and whew, boy, that was not fun. Um, but yeah, that's the range audio up until the end of May. I hadn't recorded anything new, so moving forward in the next episode, we'll be going through some of my experiences through the middle of June, and then everything else should be really day forward. We're going to be talking about things hopefully the week that they happen, and the range audios probably won't be near as long, but they'll have, if I feel something specific, then I might record the range audio, and instead of it being 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe it's 5. But I think moving forward with the podcast, I'm going to have it go through where it's set up more like this, where I'm talking and kind of recapping a lot of the things that I've gone through that specific week, um, and just kind of building off of it that way. So that's going to kind of wrap up this episode. This one ran a little bit long. I had some range audios that I really wanted to get out there, and missing last week's episode, I really wanted to make sure that this content was worth it for coming back. Considered doing a double episode, but I think if I made this one a little bit longer, it makes it, you know, a little bit better that you guys had to wait a week for it. So um, that's gonna wrap up this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, if there's things that you think that would help improve this podcast, if you think it would be better to have people on or anything like that, let me know down in the comments down below. I want to make sure that if people are listening to this podcast wherever they're at, I want to make sure that I'm putting out the best content possible. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next week. That's a wrap on First Stroke, the PGA. If you're into wild misses, humble goals, and bad club choices, give us a follow and share the show. If you have any advice, swing tips, or you just want to roast my form, I'm all ears. Hit me up. Until next time, aim high, score low, and if no one saw it, it didn't happen.